Dallas, Texas.
Hi everyone, Anubhav Mangla this side. I'm joining in from Dallas, Texas.
Hi everyone, Himanshu Sethi this side. I'm joining in from Mohali, India.
Welcome, Leonardo, all the way from Colombia. So I'm thinking it's 12:04, so just to kind of make sure that we are sensitive about everyone's time that they have, we'll go ahead and kick off this event, and I'm sure people will keep joining in as we get along. So a good afternoon to you from Dallas, Texas. I'm Lavina Ambani, and we'll be, along with the team, will be presenting our meetup on hyperautomation with MuleSoft, when and how. Anubhav, can you move over to the next slide? Some forward-looking statements. Please make sure that you look into the product, and these are some products that are kind of coming up, so make sure that you make some conscious decisions with regards to going ahead with the product. A safe harbor statement. The speaker, the hosts organizing this are doing it at the individual capacity. We are not representing our organizations here. The presentation is also strictly for a learning purpose, and we do not hold any responsibility that some solutions might work for certain business use cases. And also the presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Our today's agenda is we're going to start off with introductions, and then the team is going to take over into hyperautomation, talking about the automation suite, the composer. We have some use cases, demos, and then we will close up the event with some questions. Just as a housekeeping request, please send in all your Q&A to the Q&A tab. So we want to just make sure that all questions are answered during the course of this meetup. I'm going to move over to introductions. Once again, I am Lavina Ambani, and I head the customer success for Caelius Consulting, and I'm working out of the Dallas office. Over to you, Anubhav.
Hi everyone, Anubhav Mangla. I'm working as an associate solution architect here at Caelius. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, and have been in integration space for over 3 years now. I am very keen to do yoga and meditation, and constantly practice along with integration. I like to disintegrate my mind. Over to the team. So we have Shweta. Shweta, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Shweta Munjal. I'm the practice lead for automation initiatives that Caelius has. I've been with Caelius for a little over a year now. And yeah, no yoga here, sorry. Integration, all about integration. So I'm very excited to be presenting to you guys today. Himanshu?
Hi everyone, I'm Himanshu Sethi. I'm currently working as senior solution consultant in Caelius Consulting over here, based out of Mohali, India. And I have a lot of interest in developing interactive RP bots. So let's have an interactive session today. Yeah, over to you, Anubhav.
Thank you. So basically, and let's make this session more interactive. Would be wanting your response going forward whenever you feel a chance. So just feel free to drop messages in the chat and Q&A if you have any questions. But in today's session, we will be talking about what is hyperautomation, how does it work, and what does this terminology represents. So basically, hyperautomation is a very broader picture which a company can take, and then it can build an approach around automating various solutions, various problems. So It can use multiple verticals. We can use task automation. It can then the artificial intelligence, API, and even processing, along with process automation and a conversational UX. So all of this becomes an ecosystem and then leads to hyper automation solution. In a lot of places, we have seen that the companies these days, um, there are a lot of hurdles, I would say, in process. If we take an approach where we call the IVR system and then we are trying to get some information, there are hurdles. So using hyper automation solutions, we can just jump over those and make it fast and efficient. So according to Gartner's, the hyper automation includes multiple technologies which we integrate together and makes it a very efficient solution. Um, Few of them are listed here, which is low code, no code tools. The is MuleSoft Composer, which comes under this categorization, and then business process management, integration platform as a service. So we can say any one platform can come in picture. We can build APIs and then connect it to bots, and even MuleSoft Composer, all the business users can use it seamlessly. And there are various components which we can leverage for the artificial intelligence as well. Few of it is Einstein Analytics, which can be bring in pictures, and there are various other components. So today we will be specifically talking about hyper automation tools that are provided by MuleSoft, which any organization can leverage. Talking about MuleSoft Anypoint platform, it's a cloud-based platform, and then we can build APIs, deploy them on Cloud Hub's very secure environment, using which we can any end system which has the APIs exposed, we can leverage the MuleSoft Anypoint platform to invoke those APIs and build our solution. The other component is MuleSoft RPA, which is dedicated to Windows machine. And anywhere we have a click-based approach where we have to get into any legacy-based systems and get the information out of it, do various clicks and certain sequential steps to be followed. We can leverage the MuleSoft RPA. And for the MuleSoft Composer, it's a very strong tool built within the MuleSoft ecosystem. We are having about more than 20 plus end systems that we can connect to. So we can talk to Salesforce, can talk to Slack, and then we can talk to Gmail. So there are a lot of platform, and it's a no-code tool. Anyone, even with the right business understanding, can go log in and then build that flow. And Salesforce flow, which probably we won't be covering in this meetup, but in future meetups for sure, can also be leveraged for automating our solutions. So let's try to understand what hyper automation is, and with the example, and how we can actually automate using the capabilities of MuleSoft. So here I am taking an example of so Anubhav Mangla wants to just get a security system enabled at his home. And what I do is I just go online, fill up a form with the leading security systems website, that hey, I live here in Dallas, this is my area code, and I am interested in getting your services, secure my home. uh, w- After submitting, the security system company, they receive an email stating that someone is interested in buying your system. And what is done prior to that, after that, is that we stack those emails, and someone from the customer support, the agent will pick up that file. Okay, this particular customer is looking for security systems. What they'll do is, based upon the information that is entered, it can be area code, address, they will verify if the security system company can provide them services, if they can install the monitoring services at home. If not, they will notify the user. So they will notify the user that they are not able to provide the services at the moment, but in future they will keep it as a lead, and whenever the services expand to that particular area, they'll send out an email. The other thing that can happen is that the company is able to provide the services, and in that case, the agent adds those leads to Einstein Analytics, where all the recommendation based upon the area and environment, what all security systems should we be recommended from the products, from the different range of products. Einstein Analytics will identify those and will push it in the in the device monitoring system, that these are the devices that we are recommending. Next step that the person is doing is agent will check the approval system, that what all systems the customer is approved for, and then what are the pricing offerings and everything, and then the customer can get the home security system installed. Sorry. Moving on. One second. Sorry about that. How the hyper automation is coming in picture here is when we are talking about filling up a form, and then after receiving email, that email, we have a stack of requests, so that task can be automated using Composer. We can just say we got an information, we can download those attachments and then place it in a folder and review it from there. The other part is where the agent is actually checking, going into their legacy application, checking if they are able to provide the services to that particular area code. They are inputting the address, so all of that information after extracting from this particular file is taken care. So all of that information can be automated using RPA capabilities, where we are extracting the data using OCR, and we are expanding it to further send an email if the feasibility is not, if it is not feasible, and if there is a feasibility, push the data to Salesforce Einstein Analytics. So all of it, and then for pushing the data, we are going to leverage the APIs. We can leverage the APIs, and that's where the whole three MuleSoft offerings, which we talked about, Composer, RPA bots, and Anypoint platform, comes in picture, and this conclusively builds it up to the hyper automation solution. So so a lot of places, a lot of things can be achievable by different products that are offered. So I'll briefly talk about what are the MuleSoft offerings for the RPA Composer and platform, and when to use it, so that anyone who's implementing, they can just leverage this data, and identify based on the use case when to use what component. So when we talk about RPA, basically it runs on a Windows instance. Anywhere we have to interact with any of the desktop applications, wherein we have to go in browser, log into any page, or interact with any legacy system which is not having any APIs exposed, or is it in a very secured environment where we cannot extract the data, um, or if in case we are planning to extract data from PDF and then send that request to anywhere. All of those use cases, we need to use RPA. It's a bot that we can build. And talking more about Composer, so Composer, we have various, about 20 plus connectors, as I talked about earlier. So we if we want to integrate, so let's say point to point, from Workday to Slack, from Salesforce to Slack, from Salesforce to Gmail, or we want to do create a Jira ticket. So all of those cases where we have the capability to leverage Composer, we should use it. It's a very simple tool. Any business user can do it. So the beauty of it is that developer need not to involve there. All what you need to know is if there is any business logic incorporated there, that particular. So Himanshu, after that, will be talking about leads when he moves on to the POC part. There, if you want to filter out any leads, you can add that logic in the Composer itself and go from there. And last but not the least, Anypoint platform, one of my favorite. You can build APIs, talk to n number of systems. The connectors are free, but it needs a specific expertise from the developers to build these APIs, and and yeah, standardize the process. So using these three components, it's very easy to achieve hyper automation. Depending, so we need to see everything, that the problem as a bird's eye view whenever we are going and pitching in that why hyper automation and how to achieve it. So we can use these tools. I'll hand over the baton to Shweta, who will be taking on from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Anubhav. So, like Anubhav mentioned, there are a plethora of tools for hyperautomation. MuleSoft Composer is just one part of it. For today's Meetups scope, that is what we would be focusing on. You will see a demo later, a use case where you will see integration of more than Composer. There will be an RPA bot, there will be API, REST API called. But for the scope of understanding the working of this meetup, we are going to look at Composer. And to understand what is Composer or how it works, first it is important to understand the need for Composer. That would make understanding the working so much easier. So the future of the enterprise is composable, where the business capabilities are easily accessible as modular, interchangeable building blocks. However, IT alone cannot deliver on the promise of those connected, composable enterprise. IT today spends more time keeping the lights on than driving innovation. To overcome that, we need to expand IT to include line of business users. We need to look at knowledge workers in the line of business who aren't developers but have the potential to help IT scale. Did we lose the presentation?
Sorry, I had a glitch. 1 second. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Sanendra. Yes, so we are back here. So like I said, we need to tap into this untapped opportunity where there are knowledge workers in line of business who have the potential to help the IT of any company scale to greater heights. Now, imagine if data and IT capabilities were discoverable and available in pre-packaged building blocks. I don't need to understand coding or know how to program. We could deliver on those integration projects more quickly. That is what MuleSoft Composer aims to do. It aims to do just that. MuleSoft Composer is built on the foundation of Anypoint platform, sharing the same enterprise-grade collaboration, runtime, monitoring, security, and governance capabilities. So IT still has all the security in its controls. It has the enterprise-grade reliability and governance that IT expects, but it also provides you a no-code, point-and-click environment experience that the non-developers want and can work. So MuleSoft Composer enables such admins to connect apps and data and automate integration quickly and easily. So that means, yeah, we can move on to the next one, Anubhav. Thank you. That means Composer is a win-win for both. For business user, it integrates apps with ease, clicks, not code. It moves from an idea to reality very quickly. You can see things materialize rather than just plan and wait on IT for them. You can get access to data and run smooth integrations. What business users mostly would love is there are composers have more than 20 pre-built integration connectors for systems including but not limited to Google Sheets, Microsoft Teams, NetSuite, Slack, etc. While for IT team, if you move on to the next slide, please. IT doesn't lose its governance. They scale by empowering the business teams. Their collaborations with business teams are a possibility. They can share assets and templates and still maintain visibility and governance over all integrations. So this is where Composer makes it easier for IT and business user to work together. With that, let's dive into the workings of a MuleSoft Composer. There are three key components of Composer: a trigger, an action, and target. We start a flow by creating a trigger. What does a trigger do? A trigger answers the question, what should start this flow? A trigger can be a scheduled trigger. For example, this flow should start a Composer. Composer is a tool that provides you a flow that will start from and do all the actions that your business requires you to do. So that is what a flow is. Sorry, I jumped a little bit ahead. So trigger can be a scheduled event, like at 9:45 every morning, Monday through Friday, this flow should be triggered. Or it can be a system event, like whenever you get a new email. Let's say an email with subject line marketing leads is received in the monitored email account. That email, receiving of that email would start the flow. That would be the trigger. Then we move on to action. And action answers the question, what should we start? What should happen? The real act. Let's say the action should be, the email should be read, an attachment should be downloaded. So here in this, on the right-hand side in the screenshot, you can see that action is, here it says get records. It could be open email. It could be something else. This is where we also specify the conditions that need to be met, or if the action needs to be reiterated, a loop needs to run, all that you specify here. I know this sounds very, very theoretical, but trust me, it's coming. You will see all this in action. You will see how to create that too. Next, we move on to a target. A target, it specifies what completes the flow. This is also an action step, but it brings the flow to completion. So let's say there are a couple of action steps. We got the trigger and we started the action of read the email and download it. Run the bot to read the downloaded file. And for completion, you need to enter the details in the downloaded file into Salesforce and send a Slack message to the team. That would be the target. That would be another action. And like I said, you will see all of this in action in a couple minutes when Himanshu presents his use case. So you have created the flow at this point. What next? Next is, okay, so moving back a step, the Composer lifecycle has 6 steps. The first 3 are needed to create the flow. That's the one that we just saw. If you move on to the next slide. So the first 3, choose or create a connection, choose a trigger, define the actions you want to take. These are all needed to create the flow. The rest are testing a flow, activating it, and finally monitoring it. What is testing the flow? Testing a flow is, next slide, please. Where you create the flow, and once again, when you see the Composer in action, you will see on the top right, you will see buttons that says test, activate, and save. It's in the first screenshot on the slide. A testing is basically running the entire flow. It is executed and tested. You just test on one record, you can test on more, but the testing is scheduled for 10 minutes. It automatically active for 10 minutes. So you have to make sure that your trigger, which is a required step for testing, happens during that 10 minutes. So let's say my trigger is a scheduled event of 9:45 Monday through Friday. I have to make sure that I'm running my test at that time where 9:45 falls under that time. Or if it's a system schedule, you will see Himanshu present that his is a system activated, a system event when an email gets sent to his Gmail account. So make sure that once you run the test, an email does get sent, and that's when the test starts. The entire flow will be executed and tested. You can't stop the test at any time. If the test fails, an email is sent to your mailbox to let you know that the test has failed. If the test is successful, you move on to the next step, which is activating your flow. As you saw in the previous slide, the button to activate is right next to test. You click on that, it takes a couple seconds, the flow gets activated. And when you see the flow in the flows list, when you see the composer on the left-hand side, there is a sidebar that will navigate you to your flows, your monitoring and everything. You can click on the name of the flow, open it, you can edit it and activate it at any time. Once your flow is activated, you are good to go. You can have that flow running as needed or as your business demands, and you can also monitor it. On the left-hand side of the composer, in the sidebar, you will see there is flows. You click on that and it gives you a flow details page. Once you get to the flow details page, you can see can we move on to the next slide, please, Anubhav? That's where, yes, thank you. In the flow details page, you can see each time the flow ran and whether it was successful or not. Like I said, this all sounds very theoretical. Believe me, it's much more interesting. It's much more easier. It's literally dragging and dropping on an empty canvas. And Himanshu will take you and run you through the fun part of this meetup. Thank you, Himanshu.
Thank you, Shweta. Anubhav, let me present my screen. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, now begins the fun part. So now we're gonna see the use case and how the MuleSoft Composer works. So before jumping on directly to the use case, first I'm gonna show you the Composer, that is the tool which we are gonna use it. So in MuleSoft, was the first screen, looks like the overview of Composer, where you can see the flows, the recent flows which is being created or updated. If I click over here, you can see we have two options to create flow from scratch or either from template. If I go bottom, you have multiple tabs over here through which you can learn about this product. You can have the documentation open, and also you can join the MuleSoft community. Okay, if I move to the left tab, you have a few more options over here. If I click on flows, so as Shweta told you all that you can create your flows in this MuleSoft Composer from this tab. So here's the same option which we have seen in the overview tab, that you can just click on create new flow, or if you have n number flows, you can either search for one of the flow and you can get that one. Moving forward to the next tab, here we have the usage summary. So in this case, any flow is not active right now, but what happens whenever you activate any flow, you can see the usage summary of that flow running. Next one is templates. So being a MuleSoft product, what happens is in this one, we already have few templates that is being designed. As Shweta and Anubhav explained us, like MuleSoft Composer already provides us few connectors that is being already present in that. We do not have to code for them. We just need to drag and drop, and we can simply enter our credentials and connect with their end systems. So similarly, what happens is MuleSoft also provide us few templates on which we can build our business use case. Likewise, here you can see that we can simply open this template, and this template is all about Salesforce and Jira connection. We can have a lead or an opportunity created on Salesforce, and associated with that, we can also create a Jira issue. And clicking on this button using this template, you can just simply open it. I'll show you in the demo this thing in the later part. Similarly, we have many other templates also, like you can have a Salesforce object connected with ServiceNow ticket. Then we have Jira, NetSuite, and the other connectors also. Moving forward, we have a security settings tab. This is particularly to the administration of this composer, where you can see all the users, the security. If you want to connect any IDP with this one, like OpenID Connect, SAML 2.0, likewise. And as Shweta told you, if any of your flows that is in active state, if it fails to run, what happens? The person or the user who has created that flow, respective on this respective email, he will be getting a notification that your flow is failed, and then he can come back and see what was the error in that one. And next one is just a help document. Okay, so what I'm gonna today do is first I'm gonna let you know how we can design a MuleSoft Composer flow. Then we're gonna see a full-fledged demo of a particular use case. So first I'll brief you about the use case, then we can see how we should design that flow. Okay, so today our use case is basically what happens whenever we want to sell out any product. Our marketing teams takes place that. So we have a marketing guy, and he has conducted an event or a session from where what he is trying to do. He's trying to collect the information of the person who is interested in his product or his services, respective to his organization. So what he's going to do is he's going to note down all the information. It could be in a document form, it could be in a pen paper, or in an Excel sheet. Like I have already have one Excel sheet which has few values like first name, last name, company, and email. So these are few customers or interested persons who is interested in their product. So moving back to the composer, so what happens is he gets the document and he sends out that document to the respective team. Whenever that respective team have that email attachment, what they're gonna do is they're gonna manually process that information one by one to the sales team, and that's where the error comes in. Like someone has entered a wrong details, or maybe someone has passed the wrong information, and the process is too hectic for a person to transfer one by one. It could be, right now it's 30, but it could be hundreds of details. So to automate these tasks or automate these business use case, MuleSoft Composer and Hyperautomation tool comes into action, where they easily helps us to automate the complete task, and the error condition is approximately negligible. So to start with the flow, the first thing what you need to do is you need to name the flow. So as we are dealing with marketing leads right now, so I'll just make it as marketing leads demo, something like that, and I'm going to save it. First task is complete. Next one is, as Shweta has already discussed with us, that this could be in a two form. Whenever a flow starts, flow is nothing. It's just a combination of actions that needs to be performed. So whenever a flow starts, it could be in a two manner. We can trigger a flow. It could be either a scheduler based or a trigger based. Let's first see how a scheduler based works. So scheduler is nothing. It's a periodic cycle. Like let's say you want to run that flow once in a day, or in 15 minutes, or in 30 minutes. So you can just simply select the scheduler. You can set a time, and it's a defined time. You cannot create a custom time over here. MuleSoft has provided this defined times. Let's say I want to run any flow in once a day. So I'll select a day at that time. And whenever I activate that flow, my system will set the time. Okay, this time I have run the flow today. Next day, upcoming next day, I need to run this flow at the same time again. So this is one thing. Moving back, if the other part to trigger the flow is system event. So as till now we have been listening this, that MuleSoft has a number of connectors already defined. So this is what it is all about. These are the connectors that is being provided by the MuleSoft Composer, like Asana, Box, Gmail, Google Sheets. And what we need to do, we don't need to code anything. We just simply go click on that connector. We need to add our connection properties. What does the connection properties? It's nothing. It's your credentials, just the Gmail credentials. Okay, so I already have few connections, but for the demo purpose, I'm still going to show you once again. So let me just type it like you need to name your connection first. So let's say it's a Gmail connection for Meetup. So I'll name it like that, and I click on connect. So it asks me to sign in. Now, whenever I click on sign in, it will list down all my connection, all my credentials of Gmail, which is either login into my browser, or else I can connect with, I can enter my another account also over here. And I simply click allow, and wow, my Gmail is connected. Now I can perform any action with my Gmail. So to trigger a flow, what I'm going to select is we have an action over here. Let's say we receive an email, and whenever we receive an email, this flow will start trigger. So what I did is I select on new email, and whenever I receive an email in my inbox, I'm gonna this flow gets start trigger. Now, I don't want it to trigger it in each and every flow because this is my inbox. It can have multiple emails. It can have junk emails, spam emails. But I want the one which which is respected to my business use case. So let's say my current business use case is I want all the marketing leads details as in my email, and it should have an attachment. So I'm gonna name it like that. Okay, this is my filter criteria. If I receive 10 emails, it is just gonna filter out that emails and start the trigger. Moving forward, we have another action. So the trigger is started now. Okay, next step, what should we do? What we do is next we process that email. Okay, to process that email, in this use case, we're gonna download that attachment using an RPA bot. The composer in a hyperautomation tool, we have we have multiple tools: RPA bot, RPA MuleSoft Composer, Salesforce Flow. So one of them is RPA bot. So with respect to this use case of RPA bot, it is gonna download that attachment, read that all the details, and send out a array of JSON array of an objects with containing all the details of customers or people who is interested in buying the product. So I'm gonna click on system action, and to connect with RPA now, I already have this thing connector. I don't need to do anything more than that. I just need to pass my credentials of RPA, and I can simply do that. So over here, I already have a connection, but let's go once again with the connection part. Let's say I want to have a leads, marketing leads bot, marketing lead bot. Okay. So next comes is my RPA API URL. What we need to enter over here is we just need to enter what does the tenant name means is basically we need to whenever any organization buy a license of RPA, they get the hosting name or a domain name, I would say. Like in my as a Caelius consulting, I can see this is Caelius consulting inc. So this is basically a tenant name, and this is a secure call, so we need to add HTTPS over here. And after that, we just need to add this extension, that is rpa.mulesoft.com/rpa/API/v1. Next tab comes in your user API key. So where we can get this one to connect with RPA bot. So I'll jump you to the RPA manager section for a time being to get this user API key. Whenever we see an RPA manager, in the left hand side, there is a section called user management. From there, you can get your user API keys because all the bots are configured, are managed using this RPA manager. And I have already configured my bot, but still you can go over here and create your API key. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply copy my API key, come back to the composer, paste it over here, and click on connect. It will take a couple of seconds, and see my marketing lead bot is connected to my RPA manager now. Now I want to invoke an RPA process because that's what my bot is going to do. It's going to download it. Whenever I invoke a process, it's going to download my attachment from the email. You can see the processes which is being from the RPA bot, which is being published to the production environment over the RPA manager. You can see all the process coming over here. So for time being, I'm just going to select the process which is respective to our use case. And we can have an output section where we want to use this response either in this flow or we want to have that response from the previous flow. So in MuleSoft Composer, what happens is whenever the flow runs, for each and every actions, we have a response things. And these response are being stored into an entity called data pills, sorry. So this is the normal, like whenever we have a medicine pill, it has some medicine stored in that. That's how it performs. whenever an action triggers, it has the data of that, the response of that action stored into data pills, which we can further reuse in the upcoming events in the particular flow. So what I did is I invoked the RPA process. Now, what this RPA process is going to do is it is going to provide me the JSON of leads. Like it could be 25 JSON objects into a single array. So I cannot simply either I either can do bulk into my Salesforce. I can just post 25 leads at a time, or I can send it one by one. Okay. So for time being, let's say if you want to iterate over that particular set of leads, we have a iteration also here, like for each. So we can simply select the field which we are getting from this previous call, from this previous RPA process, and we can just have that in the iteration. Like it could be any entity, it could be list of, right now it's not visible, but what happens whenever an RPA process trigger plays, there an end response body comes in, which we can select it over here, and that's where it iterates over that one and gets us the detail. So for the iteration, let's say I have received one object now. I got the details of one lead. So I want to store that lead over my Salesforce and send a message to the particular team who is looking for a Slack channel. Okay, we got the details of this lead. Now we're gonna convert that into a potential customer. So similarly, we have the Salesforce lead connection over here. We can simply create a new record. We can enter the type of object. Let's say the type of object is lead now. And we have this thing to map, like whatever we receive in the backend, we just need to map over here, and it will store the data and create an object over Salesforce. Next, let's say if I, after creating a lead over Salesforce, I need to send a Slack message also. So I can simply select a connector, add my Slack connection, and send out a message. We have and this action is not respective to one connector. It can vary from connector to connector, because likewise you can see Salesforce has these much actions to perform. We can download file, we can delete record. So it depends connector to connector what you want to perform the operations on. If I talk about Slack, we have a post message flag, and over here, so whenever you wanna enter any details into any of the columns or any of the text fields, we have multiple ways to perform these operations. Either, as I told you, we have the data pills through which we can enter the data. Let's say if I get a two in my email, if I get a two as an address, so I want to send the channel, I want to send the message to this channel name, so I can simply map that thing. Or else if I want to create any custom expression, that is also a feature that is being provided on a MuleSoft composer. So we have multiple functions in the composer. We can create a custom expression over here. Like we can play with dates, we can play with strings. I'll show you how the strings in. You can from date to string likewise. And you can also play with string functions, first letter capital, Boolean string likewise. In the bottom section, you have the data pills from where you can get the data from the previous flows. As you can see, we have everything over here. We are getting a response from this RPA bot. We are getting response from this Gmail connector and the normal arithmetic operators like add, subtract, multiply likewise. Moving forward, we have a message tab through which we can just enter a message and send it to Slack. We can also name our bot and we can change the bot icon. So for the demo purpose, I already have a flow which is which is similar to same, and I'm going to show you that. So let me just open that and I'll leave without saving. Okay, so I'll just open this one and click on edit. So right now what happens is this flow is already created. Okay. And whenever you make any changes to this flow, you just need to click on this save button to save the current changes. And let's see, and you can see one thing, that testing connections. This is a very nice feature. What happens is whenever you open a flow, if what it do is it checks all the connection that is being made inside that flow. Right now you can see there's one thing called invalid section, because what happens is my connection got expired or something happens with my credentials. So you can, what happens whenever you open that flow, it is going to recheck all the connections. So you can come here, simply click on reconnect. You just need to select your credentials once again, and that's a button click. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to code anything. And we got the connection back there. It's again gonna test that connection. Okay, we got the connection, but still there are any other components that needs to be connected. No, it's not like that. Okay, moving back to the save button. So what happens is, if we made any change, you can just click on simply save. And to test this flow, we have a window of around, I would say, 10 minutes. In that window, we need to perform that operation to test this flow. Okay, so as we have already discussed the use case, we are going to get a list of leads, which uh, through which we are going to create a leads over a Salesforce. So I'll show you the two Salesforce, and the place where the email attachments are going to get downloaded. So this is my Salesforce portal, and I'll just refresh to see whether my session is not expired. Okay, it's not expired. Okay, over here you can see there is no lead as such, but once I run my RPA process, a bulk of leads is gonna be added over here. And this is my Slack channel, that is marketing leads. Over here we're gonna see the details of leads coming in. Okay, coming back to the flow. So there was one section where an RPA pod gonna download the email attachment and store it into a location. As RPA bot is a Windows-based application, so right now I've configured that bot over my system. So I have already set up a location. This is Meetup Marketing Leads. It is a folder where it's gonna download all the attachments and read out that attachment and convert it to a JSON format. So I'm going to start testing this flow and show you the complete demo how this thing is working. So let's wait for it to start. Once we say awaiting to trigger, I'm going to send out an email to my this email box, which is configured in this flow. Here you can see awaiting trigger event. So I have another email. What I did is I'm just going to send the email. I have a subject, and why I have kept a subject like that, because we have made a filtration there. Like it should pick a subject as marketing leads, and we can add another things also. And I have sent out an attachment as a CSV file. You can also send out an attachment as a document, in through which like how we're gonna read that document. So RPA bot has a feature known as RPA recognition, through which it reads out the document and sends the detail as it is going to do in the CSV format. So I just click on this one, and over here I'll get a pop-up that I have received a new email. So just let's wait for that, and that's how my flow will get triggered. Okay, it will be in a couple of seconds now. Here I get a notification. I'll show you that it will say, okay, you got a marketing leads details, and this event will start trigger now. Okay, the status is now changed. It says processing because it received the trigger. Now it is, what it is trying to do is it is trying to perform the further operations. And here you can see I also made a REST API calls to because I'm not using right now an RPA bot connector, rather than I'm calling it using a REST API to show how many ways we can call an RPA bot. So that is one more thing. Okay, now it says my test is finished. So there are 2 to 3 aspects which we need to look now. There's one thing, we will get an attachment there, that is the marketing leads. The attachment will get downloaded into one of my locations, and this is what the file will look like. It will have first name, last name, company, which I have already shown you in the earlier section. Now I will come over here. It will convert into JSON. So what we did is we iterate over that, and we have created a record of each and every customer that is being interested in our product. So we'll go to Salesforce now and see whether we got the leads there or not. Oh, wow, we got the leads now. Okay, so here you can see we got 30 leads because that is being added into my sheet, into the Excel sheet or a document, and you got all the details. How we got all the details? Because we did all the mapping particular to that fields. company will be added to the company, last name, email, first name. And what I did is I just used data pills. You can also use custom expression over it. Next thing, now we got the Salesforce lead, but how we get the notification? So for the notification, what I did is I added a Slack also here. So I'm gonna open the Slack now, and we're gonna see that we must also have a message. Oh, here we go. Likewise, you can see it is 12:21 a.m. my time. So I got all the details of the potential customers. Now my sales team will go in and contact to the interested persons and convert them into the lead. And I have one more interesting thing. I have also added a lead ID into that, which my Salesforce has provided me, so that if my lead is converted or it is anything else happens to my lead, unqualified, not working, I can simply go to Salesforce and change my status. That is all about the MuleSoft Composer flow. If you want to activate that, you don't need to deploy it to any different environment. You can just simply activate it from here. And this is how your MuleSoft Composer flow will get activated. Here you can see it says start activation. As already Shweta has shown you one of the figure, that is from where you can track at how many times it has been run. So from there you can see all the logs, and if it fails, you'll get an email notification there. Yeah, that is pretty all much about MuleSoft Composer. If you have any questions, the Q&A section is open. We can address your questions.
Thank you so much, Himanshu. That was really informative. It was really nice to see how it works.
And Himanshu, I know you are not monitoring the chat, but your energy at midnight, your time, is being appreciated. Trust me, by us all. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
So I don't see any questions. So we're going to kind of wind up then, I guess. Once again, there will be a recording available for this meetup. So we will be sharing that on our YouTube channel, and we'll send an email out once. It takes a little bit of time for the Meetup platform to process the video. So once that is done, we will be sharing that as well. But we do have a question, actually, a couple of questions. So Simon,
yeah, Simon.
Yeah.
Yes, we can call an API directly from an RPA bot. We have a REST API call connector in that one. You can simply call that one from there.
What would you like to know about the hyperautomation certification? Himanshu here is a hyperautomation certified person here. I'm sure he can answer.
So can I get a brief thing, like what exactly you want to understand about that, so I can help you out with that too?
Maharaj, do you have any particular question with regards to the certification? Feel free to just text on the chat, and Himanshu and the team would be more than happy to take it forward. Once again, thank you for everyone joining in. It was a really informative session, and thank you to the team, most importantly, for putting all of this together. This was really good. Feel free to use hashtag MuleSoft Meetups and post about it, just so that we can get this, we can get the recording, we can get more information about this out there to people who were not able to join in today. Also, there will be a survey feedback sent over to everyone, so make sure that you kind of provide some feedback. This just helps all of us, including MuleSoft, to deliver better meetups in the coming future.
Himanshu, if you have a minute, the question was, what does the exam look like? So if you want to give a little overview of what all was there, I think that is what Maharsh is looking for.
Okay.